we're going to play this. And this particular subject is the Ghibli AI art meme Backlash is insane. So what this is about, since the whole Ghibli AI thing has popped off, it's causing a lot of problems, maybe for the studio itself. So let's see.
Hello and welcome back to Clownfish TV. It is me, Geeky Sparkles, and today you're mostly going to just get me for videos because Neon is busy elsewhere. Today we're going to talk about the Studio Ghibli fiasco with the AI. So if you've been on the internet, you've probably seen the recent trend of everybody using the chat GPT to turn around and make things look like they're, Studio Ghibli. They're trying to make themselves look like it. They're making movies, and things like clips from movies. What was one with The Shining and stuff, and if it was done in AI and stuff like that. Well, it's not going over well, and now they're basically telling people to stop doing it. Miyazaki's AI nightmare, according to The Atlantic. So we're going to talk about that. Before we get into it any further, please like and subscribe. If you do, you'll get a woohoo, woohoo. And we're going to talk about this. Now, previously, it's been widely known that Miyazaki is not a fan of AI. And it goes back to, like 9 years ago or so, where they were doing a motion capture AI scenario with a person pretending to be like a zombie and they were contorting and stuff. And he, famously talked about a friend of his who's disabled, and he felt that it was kind of disrespectful to those who were disabled to do that. And he said, other times that he is just really anti-AI, doesn't feel like it should be used in animation or creation. Workers, jobs aside, it's fake and everything else. He's very publicly been anti-AI, as have a lot of other people who are in animation and different jobs, because as we talked about with the voice actors and stuff, they're getting replaced, and it's possible in the future that without AI protections, more and more people will be replaced. And we're like, Neon and I are a little divided on it. He thinks it's great for a tool. He doesn't believe people should be replaced, but he thinks it's great as a tool. But he understands and says that the unfortunate side effect is that you're going to replace people.
Said, I am from Azerbaijan,
I'm a little bit
so
more leery of it. And I think it's a tool also, but I think it's going to be misused and overused. And I worry about the product if you take the people out of the product. That aside, we're going to talk about this Miyazaki thing. So recently, and I don't know if it's because of his public comments, people start doing it because they recently resurfaced about his comments. But now there's this trend that people are using ChatGPT to create Studio Ghibli avatars and different things. So now everybody's talking about it. Here, The Atlantic, Miyazaki's AI nightmare, Rolling Stone, Miyazaki fans sure are pissed about ChatGPT Studio Ghibli AI slop. Stop sharing the Ghibli AI slop. What's wrong with you? And so on. We'll look at some of this here. Rolling Stone, the revered Japanese animator and filmmaker, has previously criticized the kind of technology people are now using to imitate his style. Yes, it's highly ironic. I do have to wonder if initially it wasn't done as a we'll show you type situation, but it's picked up.
This is just going to cause a giant issue in the sense of, this is just going to be a giant copyrighted issue. It's going to get to a point where I think even art styles might get copyrighted to a degree, because this is going to get really frustrating. I don't think you can copyright an art style, but it might get to that degree, because if it's too noticeable to a point where when something looks super similar to someone else's style, way too similar, almost like a one for one, I think that's what's going to happen in the future. So this is the only way to stop this in that sense, right? Because this is not just an art problem. This is a brand problem, because we can make brands, or we can make a bunch of AI, images of Mickey Mouse, Pepsi, Wendy's, Burger King, McDonald's, what's that? The Monopoly guy, the peanut guy, the peanut, top hat thing, every cereal brand that you can probably think of. It's going to get to a point where these brands are going to be like, you're using too much of our IP for you to be doing the things you're doing. I'm pretty sure Nintendo's kind of on this to a certain degree now, because like you know how Nintendo can be very like protective of their IP, and they're very protective of their IP. They don't play games. So I believe to a degree that if this becomes too much of a problem, even for companies to, you know, withstand, there's going to be some changes that's going to come uh, on a federal level to stop this to a degree, um, where AI companies cannot use or are going to be forced to not allow the people use brand names or IP names or IP like lookalikes to certain things, where the idea of transformative stuff might get altered in the long run because it's going to cause too much trouble. So I heard that they also need special permission to use them, to especially if characters are licensed or whatever it's called. So if the AI switches it up, I'll be mad too. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I think there's going to be some serious like legal uh problems, because if it's causing the studio some issues and it starts hitting more studios in the long run, not just anime but like Western studios like Netflix or anything like that, it's gonna get bad. It's gonna get super bad. To a point where things are the term transformative might have to be changed to a degree based on its meaning, or like certain there's gonna be certain restrictions for it to happen. So
up and caught on. And they said, bitter irony, people around the world are using OpenAI's GPT-4o model to generate things in the style of Miyazaki, you know, who's behind Ghibli, known for his prize values in humanism, painstaking artistry, and sanctity of nature versus horrors of exploitative industry. That's also very true. A lot of his films deal with that. You know, they have underlying, you know, themes of nature versus industry. And with AI coming, it's again putting people out of work. It would be considered industry. So yeah, he's even doubly probably not liking this. And he nor Studio Ghibli has publicly commented on the trend, even though the company did not immediately return a request for comment. Fans are in uproar. So they said it's been 24 hours since OpenAI unexpectedly shook the AI image world with their generator. Tech newsletter columnist on X said, they're talking about how ChatGPT had to pay for it or whatever. They said Studios Ghibli style memes, that's to say recognizable memes such as distracted boyfriend, disaster girl, are rendered as anime like illustrations, somewhat reminiscent of Miyazaki's, you know, style, like classics like Spirited Away and Howl's Moving Castle, which again, I'm going to take a moment to tell you that if you have not read the Howl's Moving Castle book, it is my favorite book in the world, and it is better than the anime. I love them both, but they're both very different, and I think the book is superior to the anime. You could disagree, that's fine, but the book is really good. If you haven't read it, go read Howl's Moving Castle. I've read it so many times. It's my favorite thing, and it definitely is an inspiration for Shadowbinders. So while some were impressed, many of their responses were brutal. I saw this beautiful 4K IMAX version of Princess Mononoke last night, and then I got out and saw this shit. But they've just brought Princess Mononoke back to theaters. It's been they were doing it in different select theaters recently. Do you morons truly value art so little that you just a filter for your profile pic? Yes, because most people, to them, it's not a big deal. I love.
sorry, I was on mute. Sorry, my bad. So if you're a normie, it does not matter. It does not matter, because like most normies don't care about art like that, like artists do, or people who want to get into art but don't know how. Whether you're a beginner, you're a mid-level or high tier pro, whatever the case may be. If you are a normie outside the realms of the idea of what art is and what you think art is or what you assume what it is, and you just like, oh, that's cool, and move on, just like Instagram, Lemonade, or any Pinterest, it doesn't matter. Once you're under that veil of like, I don't do art, I don't really do that stuff, not my thing, blah blah blah, but I do like it, it's kind of cool, whatever, because it has my favorite character from my favorite anime or show or movie, whatever the hell, or comic book. That's who that's for. It's for two types of people: people who really don't want to put the work in being artists, and people who do not care. They just don't care. They do not care. They just don't care. So it makes no sense. It makes no sense. Like, getting mad at them is like getting mad at like an animal who sees like food from like, if a dog saw like a hot dog on the floor, it doesn't matter where it came from. It's a hot dog to it. It's gonna eat it. It doesn't matter how it was made. It will eat it.
Some people, in their mind, it's like, I love Ghibli. I would love to make myself look like a character, and they're using it for that reason. I don't think everybody doing this has some animosity, hate boner for artists out there.
No, I don't think so.
Some people are just...
No, I don't think... No, I don't think there's no... Like, she's right. There's no anger towards people who are using the AI. I don't have no true anger towards them. Now, if you're trying to pose yourself as an artist, then that's where that problem comes in. But when you're just doing it because it's a trend, like, you honestly think kids right now who are born in this era, or like who's born a few years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, who can kind of pick up a phone now, is more technically tech savvy than we were like 10-15 years ago? They're born into this. Yeah, because the thing is like, they're born into it. So since they're born into it, or they just think it's always been there, or it's just how the world is. So them making a profile pic of a Sonic OC that they just AI generated, they don't think of it of like the concept, or the real making of a character. They just see, oh, Sonic OC, I make it into whatever animal I want, and then put some Sonic type clothing or aesthetic on and call it a day, whether it's Sonic or Ghibli or wherever the hell. It could be Bleach. It doesn't matter. We've seen it thousands of times. This has been going on for like, what, 5 years now? Like, it's been like 5 years since the AI thing. Wow, it's been, oh my god, 5 years? It's been 5 years? I think about 5 years. But Jesus, like, people, the AI thing's already ingrained into everything. Ever since its fruition, every company has been using it. So it defeats the whole purpose. So the AI art is for either normies or people who are trying to pose as artists. That's it. It's just a fact.
using it because it's trending. Some people are using it because, they love Studio Ghibli so much that they just want to incorporate it into their lives, right or wrong. I don't think everybody has some, terrible agenda associated with doing this, but it's pissing off people by you using it. Pay a fucking artist and make something real, you gremlins. Okay, to be fair though, artists can be expensive, or some people don't have access to artists. I personally would do it myself, or have Neon do it, or have some other artists do it. That's my personal.
What's up, folks? Hey, Sky Masters. Dream Mystic says, yeah, people just do things themselves. Don't do things themselves anymore. Not all, but most. Yeah. It's just a fact. That's just how things are. This is going to get worse to the point that being a regular artist who actually puts in the work is going to be ridiculed for doing this. It's going to go. What's going to happen? There's going to be a weird shift effect where people who are already doing art now are making fun of people making AI art. Once it becomes way too accessible to the point that it's just such a normalized thing, if you're a traditional, a digital artist, shit, even if a tracer, even if you're doing any of that, you're going to be made fun of by the majority of morons who are using it. That's what's going to happen. You're going to get outwitted, outnumbered by the people who don't want to put in time because it's too much work, or who doesn't really have the love to do it. And then it's going to get so overwhelming of all of them that you can't make fun of all of them or ridicule them to the point that you're going to be outnumbered, and then they're going to make fun of you. That's what's going to happen. It's going to eat itself. And then being an AI artist, it's not even an artist. It's just, you're just AI imaging. You're not even going to call yourself an artist. The word artist will be stroked out of that. It's just AI imaging at that point. That's what's going to happen. My wife is an AI. So that's pretty much what's going to happen.
What I would do, but it's for a lot of people, it's just a trend right now, and it's not that big of a deal to them. I mean, I get where their people are coming from, because you're taking money away from artists who would normally be paid to draw like that. But then couldn't I argue, if you don't work for Studio Ghibli, aren't you just ripping off their style to make money? I mean, I could argue that.
Well, the only way to solve this problem, if you get serious get immediate consequence for using brand names, IPs that you don't have like any, jurisdiction of in the slightest or license to. That's the only way you can stop this. Because as soon as you're using something that is anything close to that, that's what's going to happen. But if there's no real consequence other than being ridiculed, that's not enough.
Too. I mean, I'm not taking sides here. I'm just trying to look at this logically. And if you're mad about using AI and not hiring an artist, you'd be hiring an artist to mimic somebody else's style anyway. I'm just saying.
No, not true. Not true, because artists may have their own style. You might be hiring that artist for their style, not mimicking someone else's. So but then again, if someone's asking to draw in a particular style, then I can get that. But I don't think most people even do that most of the time. They either do it themselves, or they use AI, or they just have someone else draw it in their own style. 9 times out of 10.
Hey, you can do what you want to do. I don't think there's malicious intent here. I think intent matters. People act like this is a good thing, but all the soul has been sucked out of society. We really are at peak. Nothing really matters anymore. 10 to 1 is all people are in the animation industry and art. Hope Studio Ghibli sues everyone involved. I don't think they're going to sue anyone. I think what they can do is, Disney does this, other places do this, where you can try to put a lockdown on it so they can't do it. Because remember when they were all making the movie posters in the Pixar style, and they had the 2 girls, 1 cup and all that. And
yeah, I remember that. That was crazy. That was insane. We all saw that. That AI is going to drive mankind out of business before long. There won't be need for humans. Well, it's not even that. It's not. I don't think it's gonna technically drive us out of business per se. Most businesses, yes, but I don't think humans. What's gonna do? We're gonna need less humans, I believe, but we're still gonna need humans to a degree. Well, for now, till probably 20. Well, then again, I can't say in 20 years from now, because just the other a few years ago, we was watching Will Smith eat spaghetti no more than 3 years ago, and we thought that was funny. Now he's eating spaghetti more high rendered, so I can't even say 10 years from now. Maybe it's gonna be 3, so I can't even tell you. So I can't even predict, because that thing is so it is worrying. But this is why regulation needs to be put in place, so the human aspect is still intact. Maybe not a high degree as it used to be, but it needs to be intact. But that's only if they care enough. But then again, most of the people in Congress is old as fuck, so they're old as wood. That's why you have to ask questions like the dude who owned TikTok, and then ask Mark Zuckerberg very stupid questions about the internet. So by the time this even reaches, it'll be probably long way gone, because listen, the AI thing is going to reach Congress once it affects them directly. That's the only time. That's the only time. I'm telling you. AI is taking over. I'm scared. Don't be scared. I won't be scared too much about it, but then again, this is why it's pointless to say this, but it also makes sense at the same time. But in some art schools, you will have to, for you to get into art school now, you can't send a digital aspect of work of a portfolio you've done. You will have to literally physically send traditional drawn work of charcoal or pencil, probably in pen at this point, to send your portfolio to certain schools if you're trying to go to an art school or university, so they can literally and then not only send it to them because they're gonna need you to record yourself doing it. You have to send a video recording, a 5-hour, 6-hour, whatever long video of you start your artwork for your portfolio. So your portfolio is videos of you doing traditional work. So they have literal, and I don't even think that would be good enough because AI, but like you have to send some form of proof that you are capable of doing these things because of this very problem. That's what's going to happen. But what's funny about this at the same time is that some of these schools are accepting the idea of AI in their curriculum, which it defeats the whole damn purpose of going. So it's like, what? Like, bro, like, why? It makes no sense. That's the like it's smart, yes. Dreamy's right. It's smart, but like that's the only way you're gonna probably get accepted now in schools in the future. You have to send traditional work if you're doing artwork, recording yourself with a 4K camera on everything, right? Just to show that you're getting every stroke in. You know what I'm saying? But then again, now schools are taking art is a strong human tool for communication during tyranny. Notice how it's all turning into meaningless and empty government love AI. Yeah, I'm saying the only time AI is going to be regulated by Congress is when it affects them in a negative light that they have to address it. That's it. That's literally it. That's it. If it doesn't affect them, they're not gonna talk about it. They're not gonna put it on a center stage for every normie to know. Just like what they did with Zuckerberg and the dude from TikTok. They're not gonna do that. As long as the AI is not taking their information or messing with their stocks or whatever the hell, they don't care. Shit.
The Pixar style, and Disney was able to, I think, put the kibosh on that one. Studio Ghibli probably could put the kibosh on people being able to use that. Like they could ask for it not to be available, but people will probably find workarounds. I know certain copyrighted characters, even if you do art of it, if you put it into AI and ask it to color it or do something else, they won't do anything with it because like I recognize these as copyrighted characters.
Yes, there you go. That's what I'm saying. That's the only way they're gonna stop this. Is because they have to build into their AI system that if they put anything that is recognized to be popular to a degree, especially like a Naruto, a Mickey Mouse, a Pikachu, Captain America, Spider-Man, a Batman, a Superman, a Link, a Zelda, a Metroid, a Yoshi, a Mario, a Crash Bandicoot, a Spyro, you know what I'm saying? Like Gon, Hizuka, Optimus Prime, any Thundercats, like anything that has any form of real fandom, they'll have to like research it first before they put it out there or put it in their algorithm. In that sense, that's the only way they're gonna stop this. So you can't just make a bunch of like AI. You can still probably make your AI. What's the right word? Your AI Naruto ninja Konoha ninja of yourself. That I don't think they can come after you for that because like it's transformed to that degree. But when you're using like a Naruto, a Sasuke, a Kakashi, and then everyone and so forth, and the pink-haired one, like, especially if it looks very close to their character, they can come for you. So like, and especially Nintendo, like I said earlier, they're very protective of their IP.
So it's a very like fine line here. They could do something if they wanted to, but at the same time, if you're not actually, you're looking at a style and not a character, it's not going to be as easily enforced. Let's put it that way. Yeah, here they talk about it. Copyright question became a pressing concern. But then they said OpenAI CEO encouraged the craze, changed his profile, picked a Ghibli-fied version of himself, and joked about receiving hundreds of messages from people who had sent similar images. I just don't think this is something they could be, because it's a style. It's not a character. OpenAI said in a statement that they told the Business Insider that they were able to imitate broader studio styles, but it wasn't difficult for ChatGPT enthusiasts to figure out prompts and produce Ghibli memes without using the name of the studio. Another problem is that users were able to generate Ghibli-ish images depicting 9/11, the assassination of President JFK, and domestic terrorist Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber. Okay, Totally not cool, but I'm not surprised. I mean, there's always a sect of the internet that as soon as there's something that they can do to make it outrage bait, they're gonna do it. I mean, it's not right, and I stand against using it for that kind of stuff, but I'm not surprised. That'd be the first thing I'd expect to see. They're just going on about Miyazaki and about expresses himself. There he's talking about his friend. You know, the AI generated computer animation of a disfigured zombie character. He calmly expressed his withering contempt. Whoever creates this stuff has no idea what pain is whatsoever. I'm utterly disgusted. If you really want to make creepy stuff, you can go ahead and do it. I would never wish to incorporate this technology into my work at all. I don't think he would, given his theming. I strongly feel that this is an insult to life itself. We humans are losing faith in ourselves and all that. That's what he said before. So that's one of the articles. Here, another one. Stop sharing the Ghibli AI slop. What's wrong with you? You do a search on Google, Ghibli AI Backlash. You know, there's all kinds of comments and stuff on here. We're going to go out to AI, and here's some of the, or to X.
Why would anyone want to even generate something that that's like asking, why would anyone want to, like, I can't use that. That's too offensive. What can I use as example? It's sounding offensive. Because of rage bait. Let's put it that way. People like rage baiting. It brings clicks. Remember, the most negative engagements brings them the more negative something is, the more engagement it brings. The more positive it is, it may bring a lot of engagement, but not as much as negative. It is horrible because, like, remembering, like, let's put it this way: you remember more horrible things than you do good. So 9 times out of 10, you're gonna remember things that bothered you in your past, or something that happened to you in your childhood, compared to something good. You probably might forget like 10 good things, remember 3, and then remember most of all bad things. Unless you have a very good mind of just forgetting, but then again, that's just probably trauma blocking shit out. So,
I mean, here's some of the things that they're doing. Like, yeah, there's the 9/11 one, which, yeah, yes, that's gone too far. And there's other ones on here. Yeah, there's the fire girl and the memes that you see. Oh, there's the guy that was, you know, the from the Olympics that was shooting. And people are just using it. Oh, that's funny. The cat. And I don't see what the big deal is if you're using it for like that. You know, you're just doing funny little things. If you're using it for your icon, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think it goes a little bit worse when you're starting to do Adolf Hitler in Germany in Ghibli style. But this is funny. Ghibli's ever Muppets are now. Because you can have AI do that too, I'm sure. That's actually pretty funny.
I'm not gonna lie, the Muppet kind of goes hard. The Muppet one kind of goes hard.
Oh, here we got Terminator, and they have it animated to drive off. So then here's someone mad about AI scanning it. My art, yeah, not true. Okay, here we got the tanks. It's just and there's a bunch of other stuff in here, but yeah, people are just okay. The O.J. Simpson trial. Here they got the White House issue, the Zelensky and stuff, and AI. But it's mostly just people doing memes and stuff. I know I've seen a lot of people, like, it's just mostly memes, doing their own avatars. It's really not that big a deal to most people. That being said, I can see why a lot of people are upset about it too because of it. Again, it's just a personal preference. If you don't want to do this, don't do it. But I don't think people are necessarily... Now, the ones doing 9/11 and assassinations and crap, yes, that's being done deliberately for outrage and to be malicious. But I don't think most people are trying to be malicious with it. I think that they're just... Some people don't even realize that it can be problematic. They're just doing it because everybody else is doing it and it looks fun. At the end of the day, though, the technology's there. It's not going to go away. They're not actually saying, hey, here's the copyrighted characters. They're just saying the style of. But we saw this before with Disney and Pixar. It is very possible that Ghibli can get it taken down, can get it stopped, because Disney was able to do so. They had things locked out you couldn't even do, like, in Pixar style. So I think it's a matter of time. So they say you can't do Ghibli style anymore. I just don't think you can really sue about it because you're not using copyrighted characters. It's a style. Anyway, what do you think? Did you participate in it? Did you do it? What do you think about the whole AI?
I think what's going to happen, like I said before, it's a style, yes, but it's going to get to a point where if the style is too recognizable to be considered like almost brand worthy, like you can tell when you look at Horikoshi's work, you can tell it's Horikoshi's, right, from My Hero Academia. When you see Kobo's work from Bleach, or even though he's dead now, but Akira Toriyama's, like after a while you can kind of say, oh, Akira Toriyama drew that, or that's in his style. After a while you can actually brand the style by just looking at it. It may not be a 1-for-1 and or whatever, but it is close enough to say, that looks too similar to something I've seen before. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to get to a point where the style itself is going to be an intellectual property if this becomes too much of a problem where they will have to reword and fix things. That might play badly for artists, and that might play good at the same time. Because if you are an artist and you have a particular style that is very distinguished, very recognizable, that people can literally make a 1-for-1 of what that is, you know. Oh, hi, Mike. What's gonna happen is like you can look at something and be like, okay, that looks like his style or her style, so therefore we might have to do something about that because there's too many people using it. It's not like it's a few people, you know what I'm saying? You like if it's a few hundred, that's not a big number, but when it goes up like 10, 100, 100,000 plus, that's a big problem. Because if they're selling like merch, right? And they're a business person and they have a business and they're selling that merch based on their style, not even the characters they draw, but based on the style alone, whether it's fan art or their own original characters, that's gonna be a problem. Because selling pins, selling like books, selling all that stuff is gonna go less. Or something like that. Because that's gonna cause problems in some way. Because it's not like it's a few hundred people. A few hundred people can't make a dent in your shit. If you're Ross Strauss, let's use Ross Strauss for example. If you're Ross Strauss and you're selling a bunch of like books, right? And it's particularly in your style, and a few hundred people try to imitate that style, let's be honest, at least less than half is going to at least get it right. So you don't have to worry about that, right? But if it's 100,000 plus people using it, that to the point where you can see, as I've seen a bunch of AI Ghibli stuff in the last few days, like a lot, and it's annoying, right? Whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever the platform you're on, you're seeing it somewhere, even Lemonade. So that tells you that it's not a few hundred, that's a few 100,000 plus. Especially if it's a trend, that's even more problematic because that's eating into your business. So that's going to be a problem for independent artists to a degree if they have a particular style. So like Horikoshi, he's not independent anymore because like he's, you know. But if you're a Horikoshi type person and you have an art style that is so, and you have a fan base, that can be destroyed if someone puts it through an algorithm or AI to a degree. If they have enough images. And remember, we post most of our images pretty for free most cases on like Instagram, YouTube, TikTok and stuff. So it's not hard for them to access it, right? So that's up to like debate, I guess. If you consider that like ethical or not.
My argument, do you think it's wrong to use the AI to do Ghibli style photos if you're just using it for like a meme as a joke or your own image? Comment and let us know.
I'm just doing sketches as we do things together. All right, so that was the video for today. For that's the first video. So we're gonna go to the next.